$3,000 landed in her account today. By spring, over a third of it will already be gone, and she has no idea yet. She earned $4,000 freelancing last quarter. The tax software just said she owes $1,200 of it. Nobody warned her. On paper, freelancers get paid in full. In practice, a slice of every single payment was already spoken for. She just never saw it happen. Her roommate's paycheck already has taxes removed before it even arrives. Maya's doesn't. The full amount lands, and the responsibility lands with it. Some freelancers don't find out until April, staring at a bill with penalties attached for money they already spent months ago. But some freelancers never panic in April. Not because they earn more, because they understand exactly where their money goes the moment it arrives. Every time Maya gets paid, she does the same thing. Checks the balance, feels good for a second, and moves on without setting anything aside. The platform pays her the full invoice. No federal withholding, no state withholding, no state now mile due amount. The entire decision is hers alone. She almost texts her accountant cousin to ask how much to set aside, then deletes the message. It feels like something she should already know. Ask 100 freelancers the same question: how much of this payment is actually mine? And most give a different, uncertain answer. Somewhere between the invoice and the bank deposit, money changes meaning. This is the exact place where that happens, step by step. Maya finds a headline about quarterly tax deadlines and realizes one already passed 3 weeks ago. She never even knew it existed. The same debit card buys groceries, pays rent, and receives client invoices. By the time tax season arrives, there's no way to separate what was ever hers. In January, she made a spreadsheet to track every payment. By February, 3 entries in, it stopped. The gap between intention and habit is where this problem lives. The invoice says project fee plus materials. The bank deposit just says one number. Maya has no idea how much of it is actually taxable income. Even in the grocery aisle, she's doing math in her head. How much of this month's invoice is safe to spend, and how much isn't really hers? An email notification mentions estimated tax penalties. She doesn't open it right away. The fear of a number is sometimes worse than the number itself. Almost every Sunday night, she opens her banking app and tries to estimate what she actually owes. She never lands on the same number twice. In the car, she finally says it out loud to her partner. She has no idea how much of her freelance income is actually going to survive tax season. Across town, a freelance photographer stares at the same kind of number on his own screen. Different job, different city, identical blind spot. Her banking app has a button that says open a new savings goal. She's tapped near it 4 times this year. She's never once pressed it. A payment notification used to feel like good news. Now it comes with a flicker of dread. A number she'll have to account for later. Every symptom points to the same missing piece. Not effort, not income, but a clear picture of how this money is actually taxed in the first place. A 1099 form simply reports what a client paid her. It doesn't withhold anything. It doesn't calculate anything. It just states the number in full. For an employee, a payroll system quietly handles withholding. For a freelancer, there is no middle step. She is both the earner and the one responsible for paying in. That $1,200 bill isn't one tax. It's 2 stacked together: regular income tax and a separate self-employment tax most freelancers never learn about. Self-employment tax sits at 15.3%. It exists because freelancers pay both halves of Social Security and Medicare that an employer would normally split. Of that 15.3%, 12.4% goes to Social Security and 2.9% goes to Medicare. The same system employees fund, just paid differently. After that 15.3%, her regular income tax bracket still applies to what's left. The 2 taxes stack instead of replacing each other. Picture $1,000 from a single invoice. This is where its journey starts, before self-employment tax, before income tax, before anything is removed. Before self-employment tax is even calculated, only 92.35% of that $1,000 counts, a built-in adjustment most freelancers never notice. 15.3% of that adjusted amount comes out next, roughly $141 gone, before income tax even enters the picture. Then her income tax bracket applies to what remains. For many freelancers, somewhere between 10 and 22%, depending on total yearly income. Here's the part most people miss. She gets to deduct half of that self-employment tax from her taxable income, quietly softening the total bill. Software subscriptions, a portion of her internet bill, even mileage to a client meeting. These lower the income that gets taxed in the first place. All of this gets reported on a form called Schedule C, income on one side, expenses on the other. The difference is what actually gets taxed. Depending on where she lives, a state income tax layer may apply too, smaller than the federal piece, but still part of the full picture. After every layer, roughly 700 to 750 of that original 1,000 is truly hers to keep, not guessing, an actual calculated number. None of this is hidden, it's just never explained in one place, which is exactly why so many freelancers try the wrong fixes instead. The first fix most freelancers try is simple. Don't think about it. Close the tab, spend the deposit, deal with it later. It never actually disappears. The second fix is guessing, setting aside 20% because it sounds right. For many freelancers, the real number runs higher than that guess. She sets money aside, but into the same account she spends from. A surprise car repair later, and the tax money quietly disappears without a decision. She downloads 4 finance apps in one night, sets up 2 of them, and opens neither again. Effort without a system doesn't solve anything. She asks a forum, a group chat, and a cousin. 20%, 30%, it depends. 3 different answers leave her more unsure than before. She figures the tax software will explain everything when the time comes. It will. In April, months after the spending decisions were already made. A big invoice lands, and she treats herself the same day. A new pair of shoes bought to celebrate money she hasn't actually finished accounting for. Determined not to be caught again, she sets aside nearly half of everything, and now struggles to cover rent from money that was never actually owed. A quarter later, what she saved doesn't cover what's owed. A penalty notice arrives, not for skipping tax, just for underestimating it by too much. She assumed the tax she pays on purchases was somehow related to what she owes on income. They're completely separate systems, calculated in entirely different ways. She keeps rereading her 1099, expecting an instruction to appear somewhere on the page. It never will. The form reports the number, nothing more. None of these fixes failed from laziness. They failed because none of them were built on the actual math, just guesses, avoidance, or timing that arrived too late. Instead of guessing a percentage, Maya calculates her real effective rate using last year's numbers. For her, it lands close to 28%, not 30%. She finally taps the button she'd hovered over for months. A separate account, labeled clearly, with one single purpose, taxes and nothing else. Now, the moment an invoice is paid, 28% moves automatically into that account, the same day, before it has a chance to feel spendable. Every receipt gets photographed and logged the same day it's spent. Software subscriptions, mileage, a portion of rent used as a home office. Instead of one dreaded date in April, the real system spreads payments across 4 smaller deadlines a year, spreading pressure instead of stacking it. Her new rule fits on an index card: 92.35% of income, times her effective rate, set aside the same day it's earned. No new app, no elaborate system, just one automatic transfer rule set up once, quietly doing the job every download had failed to do. The overflowing jar from her overpaying phase is gone, replaced with an actual calculated line item. Enough, Not too much, not too little. A separate card now exists just for client invoices and business costs. The mixing that once made everything unclear is simply no longer possible. She looks up her state's rate once, writes it down, and never has to wonder about it again. One piece of missing information, permanently resolved. She finally sends the message to her cousin. Not out of desperation this time, just to double-check one detail. It takes 4 seconds to send. In the same car, months later, she mentions taxes again, this time explaining the system to her partner instead of confessing confusion about it. It's Sunday night again. She isn't opening her banking app to guess anything. The number is already known, already set aside, already handled. A similar notification arrives again. This time she opens it immediately, because there's nothing left to guess about, and nothing left to fear. Every tracked expense shrinks the taxable number slightly, not dramatically, but enough that careful tracking becomes its own small, steady payoff. A new invoice arrives. She glances at the total, already knows the exact amount that's genuinely hers, and closes the laptop without a second thought. The dread that used to follow every payment is gone, not because the tax disappeared, because she finally knows exactly where it goes. The same calendar hangs in the hallway. April is still circled, but now it's just one appointment among 4, not a countdown to disaster. She mentions her system to the photographer from across town. He nods, already scribbling the effective rate formula onto his own notes. The number that once felt like an ambush now sits quietly in a spreadsheet she actually keeps updated, expected, accounted for, no longer frightening. Her income didn't change. What changed was understanding exactly where every dollar of it was always going to go, from the moment it arrived. She closes her laptop, taxes already set aside, expenses already logged. For the first time all year, getting paid feels exactly as good as it should. If this changed how you think about your next invoice, share it with a freelancer who needs it. Leave your biggest tax question below, and subscribe for what comes next.